Welcome to the Good Girl Revolt podcast. This is episode 3. I'm Molly Wenzel. I am author of the upcoming book, The Good Girl Revolt. A little bit about me. I had a coaching business from 2016 to 2020. I'm a certified coach. I'm a certified Reiki master as well. I help good girls and people pleasers burn it all down to reclaim their lives. And that looks very different person to person. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about, is it all worth it? Is burning it all down worth it? Is it worth the effort, the pain, the difficult decisions? And we're really going to dive into that today because it's a super interesting topic. And I really think that's what holds a lot of people back of like, but will it ever be okay? Will I ever be able to rebuild my life? Will I ever be able to have a healthy family? Will I ever find another person to love me? Stuff like that. So we're going to dive into it. And what's so funny, so I still don't have an intro or an outro. I know I need to work on it, but I'm working on so many things. Like I'm writing my book, I'm doing this podcast, I'm doing my TikToks. These are all things that are not supernatural to me. Writing is, but I'm not a big social media person. I really don't know much about podcasting. You know what I mean? So it's like there's already so much going on that I just have not had a chance to really sit down and craft, an intro and outro. But what's so funny is I'm also like, it depends on what mood I'm in. So today I'm in a mood where the song, if I had my choice, would be like something along the lines of Breaking Out of Hell by Airborne. But then there's another side of me that's more like, what's the opposite of that? Like The Lakes by Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't really know what would fit all of me, but maybe it doesn't have to. Maybe that's the lesson. Who knows? But anyway, so let's get right into it. Is burning it all down worth the effort, the severed relationships, the, turning everything to ash and having to start over? I will say, obviously for me, yes. Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. It's not so, maybe that's actually not the correct question. Maybe it should be more of like, how long is this going to take? Which I automatically wanted to say that in King Julian's voice from Madagascar. How long is this going to take? It takes a while. I'm not going to lie to you. But in my opinion, it was worth every second. It takes a long time. And I think that's what people don't understand. It's like, this is not like a once and done process. This is not like 2 or 3 conversations and like you're suddenly going to have boundaries and you're suddenly going to have healthy relationships with your family or your friends or your partner. Like you have to learn an entire new way of living, right? And so that's the hard part. That's the uncomfortable part. There's a lot of uncomfortable parts, right? You have to admit to yourself who is around you. You have to admit to yourself what your behaviors are and how you're contributing to some of these traumatic situations or these really unhealthy dynamics. Because yes, if somebody's abusing you or something like that, yes, it is all that person's fault. Where your fault lies is believing you can change them or giving them chance after chance after chance instead of honoring yourself and saying, oof, I really don't deserve to be treated that way. I love you so much. If you can get your shit together in a couple weeks or a couple months, give me a call, so even if you are truly the victim, which I know a lot of us are, we still stay, and that's where our fault lies. And sometimes we stay because we don't know it's an option to leave. Sometimes we stay because we are very intertwined with this person financially, emotionally, things like that, trauma bonds. Sometimes you are so gaslit, manipulated, and trauma bonded that you can't even fathom leaving. And if you do, once you leave, it's you're going through an addiction, you're going through a withdrawal when you leave. So a lot of people, panic and turn back and relapse just like they would with other, substances. So I want you to understand, burning it all down. And by burning it all down, I mean the people pleasing ways, the good girl conditioning, the lack of boundaries, allowing people to treat you however they feel like treating you. And you just keep having compassion and understanding for them. We need to burn all of that down in order for you to be self-sovereign, to have safety, to have peace in your life and in your body and in your mind, You cannot hold on to all like your old way of being and the conditioned way of being and be empowered and be self-sovereign. That's the whole point. So it's super uncomfortable work because of all the self-reflection you have to do. And also because then you also have to teach yourself a whole new way of being while also just living in this reality, you know, going to work, paying the bills, raising kids, having a social life, having family members, you know, it's your regular life continues and you have to learn how to navigate it in an entirely different way. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. So I understand that some people say like, this is just not worth it. I would rather keep my family connections, even if it doesn't satisfy me. You know, I'd rather keep this partner, even if they're pretty horrible to me. So everybody has their own priorities. So there is no right or wrong way to burn it all down and to heal yourself from your good girl conditioning. There is no right or wrong timeline. Everybody has their very unique path to walk. And so I'm always very careful to I always try to be very transparent because I'm not trying to bullshit you and pretend I have all the answers. I'm not trying to pretend that if you listen to everything I say, it'll work out perfectly for you. Not one bit. I'm simply trying to share my experiences and my path and the things I had to do and my thought process behind those things. So you can take a look at that and be like, okay, but how do I make that fit my life? You know? So it took me 3 years. And now it's coming up on 4 because I ended that relationship in January of 2023 and it is now October 2023, excuse me, and everything is different. But this whole process really got started. The first truth bomb came out in regards to the relationship and the friends and my chosen life outside of my family stuff, because my family stuff had been going on obviously my whole life, but really had gotten pretty bad around 2018, 2019. So that's its own separate thing. But as far as the long-term relationship, well over a decade, friendships, well over a decade, my chosen family, building my business with those people, that kind of thing, that really all started crumbling in January of 2020. And now here it is, October 2023, and I can say it was all worth it. I am happy. The light has come back. For all of 2023, I was I really don't know if I'm ever going to be happy. Maybe I'm just destined to be miserable. Maybe I'm just always going to feel this way. And I just have to either learn to cope with it or figure something out. You know what I mean? So I can confidently say now that it was all worth it. And I knew throughout those years that it was worth it. But I never really knew what was going to happen. So I didn't know. I guess I never really knew if I was going to be okay. And that's half of the reason some of this stuff is so scary, because we often do not have people showing us the way. I had these hard conversations. I made those difficult decisions. I severed a bunch of those relationships. I took a lot of very scary risks and made big moves without really knowing if it was ever going to be okay. I really had no way of knowing if I was doing the right thing, if I would ever have people in my life again, if I would ever speak to my family again. I did all of these things just knowing I know that this, as it currently is, cannot continue. It's making me miserable. These people don't respect me. They don't care about their impact on me. And instead of, when they do something horrible and disrespectful, instead of apologizing, they double down and attack me. I knew that whatever was out there waiting for me had to at least be neutral compared to what I was already experiencing. I was not sure if it was going to be better. I was not sure if it was going to get better. I really didn't. I just knew at the very least it's going to be the same but different. And at least I can go to sleep at night knowing I'm trying to find something different. Even if the next few options don't work out, at least I know I'm trying, right? But I really had to have that courage of trusting myself and trusting the fact that if I had this feeling that this could not continue, that I had that feeling for a reason. And I spent those years trying to fix it, trying to heal it, trying to shift it. I did everything in my power to keep my family in my life, to keep my partner or ex in my life. Some of the friends, I honestly was like, nah, fuck you, you need to go right now. Like some of them, I was like, I don't even want to try. Others, I did try. And at some point I realized like, I can't shift dynamics on my own, right? So that's when you have to be radically honest with yourself about who's in your life and about why you're accepting what you're accepting and doing what you're doing. And then really like just taking the risk of like something out there has to be better than this, right? So my bravery, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like truly my courage and my belief that life is not supposed to be misery, like that's really what was my guiding force the whole time. And I do think like that aspect of myself, those qualities that I have, I think I am meant to light the way for other people. Because even in my community now, I've only been living in my new city since March, and I have a solid network of people already because I threw myself into meeting people and to putting myself out there and to being vulnerable and being honest about what I was feeling, what I was needing. And I've met a few people that I was like, oof, I absolutely do not want them in my life at all. And that's cool. Whereas old people pleaser me, old good girl Molly would have been like, ooh, that's mean. I should like that person. So let me prove to myself why they should be in my life. So none of that in this new city. I have a really, really solid network now. And what's been very interesting is that the more I speak up about my experiences and my wisdom and my lessons learned and how I handled certain situations, the more other women around me start to open up about what they're really experiencing in their family and in their relationships and in some of their friendships. See, here's the thing. A lot of us keep looking around for somebody to give us the space and the safety to be honest and to be vulnerable. And unfortunately, we often have to lead that. We have to be the ones to create that safe space and go first. We have to be the ones to make the first move, to create that sacred space, set those boundaries, and then the rest will follow. So a lot of us are just walking around out here looking for the next women's circle or looking for the next event or like maybe a new friend who will give them the space to say what they need to say. And I've learned throughout the years that like everybody's looking. Everybody's looking for that and not many people are creating it. And I kind of got tired of waiting or like looking for safe spaces and looking for authentic people and only ever being disappointed. So I decided like I'm the creator of that sacred space. And I hope that you come to that conclusion too, and that you can have the bravery to like be vulnerable first with the right people. But anyway, so back to the original point here, the more that I show up vulnerably and honestly after using my discernment about who deserves that vulnerability, it gives other women around me such permission to be like, oh my God, like I thought I was the only one, or like because you have been honest about what you're experiencing, it's making me realize that my relationship is abusive and that I'm not really happy. No matter how much I heal and change and shift, like my partner still blames me and I still get lied to, So by me having that courage to be like, here's what I'm going through and here's how it's making me feel, it ripples out to other people. And like people around me are starting to really empower themselves because I'm giving them an example of like that they're going to be okay. And I'm not trying to say any of this as if like, oh, look at me, right? So I'm not trying to like toot my own horn. I'm trying to tell you like, this is how we burn down the patriarchy. This is how we empower ourselves and get back to autonomy and to healthy emotional regulation and healthy non-enmeshed dynamics, So it's been really cool to just watch people start to rise just because they know, like, okay, if Molly did it, if she went through all of that, and I have told my local community in great detail what I have gone through, and it's I hate to always say like I'm just an example for people, but it's really true. Like, because I've been honest about my life path and how I got here, it gives them the opportunity to say, like, I can do this. I can make it out of this. You know, like, I'm just a living example of, like, you know, it doesn't end when all that shit happens, or when you have these massive tower moments or your Saturn return. You know what I mean? I think I'm just living proof that, like, it can get better. And not only can it get better, like, I didn't know that such happiness could exist. I didn't know what it was like to feel safe. Like, truly, in the year 2023, and probably only since about like May, I have been safe for the first time in my life, because I don't have anybody in my life gaslighting me, lying to me, guilt tripping me, like emotionally dumping on me. I don't have any of that. I have handpicked every person who has either remained in my life or who has like come into my life, and I allowed them to stay. Like, I had no idea. Like, this is what life is supposed to be. Like, I have real friends, and we don't gossip about each other. We don't, like, my old friendships and my old, like, my entire life, the way I connected with people was complaining and fear-mongering or shit-talking each other. My friendships were terrible, and I didn't know, because that was how I saw everybody interacting from, like, childhood. You know what I mean? So my new friendships, we empower each other. There is not one bit of gossiping or shit-talking. It's all, we speak so much love over each other, and we speak so much empowerment over each other. And I know if I'm not in that room with those friends and my name is brought up, that they're praising me, that they're supporting me, that they're speaking highly of me and my business and my life. And I do the same for them. Like, I had no idea what healthy friendship was like. And now, don't get me wrong, I do have a few friends from the before times that, like, I would ride for 100%. But I was still showing up as that disempowered person even when I was friends with them before. So I'm different now. And so our friendships are much healthier now too. And as much as it sucks, I hate being separated from my family. I was just crying to my friend the other day that, like, I hate that it took me leaving them and not being in contact with them to feel so peaceful and to feel so confident and, like, excited to wake up every day. I hate that. I wish it wasn't this way. And I just, like, cried my eyes out to my friend, because that sucks, you know? And I'm hoping one day that we can reconnect. But, like, again, you just kind of have to radically accept what is happening. And it sucks that I can't have them in my life at this moment, but it is what it is. And here's the thing. It's not that I'm against having them in my life. I am just very much paying attention to actions over words, right? And so if my family wants to have a connection with me, then, like, show me. You know what I mean? So the parent who ghosted would be able to step up and, like, come towards me as the parent going towards their child and being like, what's happening here? How do we fix it? And they have not done that. They've texted me and said, like, I miss you and I wish we could, like, you know, fix this. And it's like, then show me, you know. And same with the other parent. It's like, if they could show me that they could regulate themselves and that they were willing to hear me and not dismiss my concerns, not dismiss my experiences, but hear me and not be defensive, then, like, we would have no problem. Then we could be in each other's lives. But I've learned, like, I can't be the only one with changed behavior. You know what I mean? So I really never wanted it to be this way, but I had to admit to myself what reality was and then make choices accordingly. And this is what it had to be. So I wish that I still had my very deep connection with my family, and I wish that none of that stuff with the friends and the partner happened, but it did. And I chose me. I chose me radically And I know that the way that I went about things was probably very extreme, right? And I've said that in a few of my TikToks of like, I'm not advocating for people to do what I did. Because to be honest, like, I have a very high level of courage. And, I have this ability to like have the bigger picture in my mind, even when things are very dark. But even that, so I had the emotional tools, I had coaching training, energy healing training, high emotional intelligence, things like that. And even still, I had days and honestly weeks at a time throughout 2023 where I didn't know if I could make it, that things got really, really dark and like the spicy thoughts almost won. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm like, I don't think what I did is for everybody, because I knew what was coming my way as far as like the darkness. I didn't know how long it would take. I didn't know how it would be okay. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew it was going to get bad because it was everybody, cut down at once. So everybody has their own priorities when it comes to healing, when it comes to breaking their childhood conditioning, right? And so the only person who's going to know how far to take it is you. The problem with being a good girl is like you outsource all of your power to everybody around you because you were conditioned to do so. Like it's not because you're weak or you're dumb or anything like that. Like you were taught like that's what you're supposed to do, right? And so it can be very scary having to trust yourself of like, do I cut this person out or are they safe to be around? Do I end this relationship or do I stay? Like, is this person lying to me or are they not? Should I move? Should I not? Like, it is very scary to start out breaking out of your good girl conditioning because you don't trust yourself. Good girls don't trust themselves. They are conditioned to take in other people's opinions and other people's needs and thoughts about it. And of course, when you start on a healing path, you are going to get so much pushback, so much, like people are going to try and get you to think you're wrong and that you're selfish and you're mean. There was a time in my relationship when my ex looked at me and was like, you cannot cut everyone out. You cannot push everybody away. And I looked at him and I was like, are you really advocating for me to keep people in my life who have very blatantly abused me and disrespected me? Like I was so proud of myself in that moment of like, are you really looking me in the eyes and telling me that I should keep that person in my life after they stabbed me in the back, after they gave me PTSD? And he was just like, no, I didn't mean that, but like even those who claim to love you will be like, you're wrong for doing this. Like I had another friend, ex-friend, text me and tell me I should be ashamed of how I'm treating her so coldly. Meanwhile, he was one of the ones lying and manipulating. You know what I mean? So they will actively hurt you. And then when you start to heal and start to choose yourself, they will say, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to be hurt. You're not allowed to walk away from me. You will be alone. You're going to be miserable and alone forever. So good girl conditioning means it's really hard to trust yourself because you were never allowed to. And you were actively gaslit out of your intuition, your knowing, your self-sovereignty. And people are actively going to try to convince you that it's wrong, that it's selfish, that you can't do it. So you have to be prepared for it. However, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. It's so funny. I thought I was an introvert my whole life. And even when I would take those personality tests, it would always be like I don't know the exact letters, but like INTJ or JP or whatever, always introverted. And just a couple weeks ago, my kickboxing trainer was like, just out of curiosity, like, what's your Myers-Briggs personality? And I was like, I have not taken that in years, but it's definitely something like introverted and whatever. And I actually just retook that test last week, and my letters were different. I am an extrovert. So my whole life, I was shy. I wanted to fade into the background. I was socially awkward at parties. Like I didn't know how to meet new people. I didn't know how to introduce myself. I was very closed off and very shy. And now that I have removed myself from all of those circles, from family circles, social, all of that. Now that I am not around anyone who treats me bad, who lies to me, gaslights me, guilt trips me, I have none of that going on in my life. I'm a fucking extrovert. I have met so many people. I'm running events. I'm making these podcasts and these TikToks. I am so flirtatious again. Like, I can't tell you. I don't want any of their numbers, but I've gotten a few numbers just in the past few days just because I'm like, I'm feeling flirty. I'm feeling myself. You know what I mean? So it's like, I am a completely different person than I thought I was my whole life. I had, like, again, the unhealthy friendships, the shit talking, the gossiping, the no boundaries, the enmeshment. Like, of course, I was always trying to leave parties and go home because I was always drained and exhausted and I couldn't be myself. I didn't even know who myself was. Like, who was I? I don't know. So of course, I always wanted to leave social events and didn't want to meet new people. Now, here, I can't stop dancing. I can't stop meeting people. I can't stop being charming. I can't stop being fucking funny. Like, I am such a bright, bubbly, charismatic, funny, witty person. Like, when I was with my people and really feeling myself, usually after a couple of drinks, that's who I would be, you know? And then, of course, I would have too many drinks and go the very opposite route. But, like, I couldn't dance without drinks. Like, I had to get drunk first and then dance. And now, like, I'm just out here fucking dancing all the time. I used to turn bright red anytime somebody would, like, pay attention to me or talk to me. You will be shocked at who you really are if you're able to remove those types of people from your life. Now, again, is it worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so happy. I used to have, and I do still have some insomnia, but I used to have insomnia plus I wouldn't be able to stay asleep. Like, I would wake up every hour. I would be tossing and turning. If, like, I would wake up around 5 or 6 and I couldn't go back to sleep unless I moved downstairs to the couch. And now I'll wake up at 5 or 6 like I usually do. I'll use the bathroom. I'll play with my cat. Like, I might even, like, go outside, look at the stars a little bit if the stars are still out, and then I'll go back to sleep for another few hours. Like, I am so different without people who are constantly traumatizing me. And the other thing I realized is different about me. I used to be so easily offended. I used to have such a short temper. I used to not find jokes funny. Like, I was so quick to be like, ugh, I hate that, or ugh, that's so stupid, or like put people in their place. You know, like, I was so easily offended. And I realize that it's because I was always being disrespected. And I'm not talking like literally 24/7, but like, there were no boundaries in these friendships and all these secrets were being withheld. And so certain behaviors were very inappropriate. My parents were always calling me like I was the fixer for everybody, the problem solver. I just never had a space to be soft and to be feminine and to be taken care of and to be relaxed. And so, of course, my baseline was triggered and was offended and was like ready to fucking fight because it was constant. You will be shocked at how wonderful you are and how playful you are and how funny you are when you're not in like a battle zone. So, is it all worth it? Yes. Does it happen overnight? No. You are going to have to climb mountain after mountain and get out of deep valley after deep valley. So this healing process comes with very high highs and very low lows. 1 minute, I would be over the moon that I was finally brave enough to choose myself and that I'm finally like making healthier choices and like really walking the walk, you know what I mean? And then the next minute I would be like, what have I done? What have I done? They're all probably right. I'm the common denominator. I'm probably the problem here. And now I'm out here being a fool. Like, so it is a big emotional roller coaster. It is a lot of uncomfortable conversations. This path comes with a lot of like shocking endings, shocking events. Like, once you start having a voice and having expectations of people, They're not going to take kindly to that. Some will. Some will. Some are going to be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea you felt that way. Of course I want you to feel okay. Like, let me know what I need to change. Some people might do that. Most of them are so used to you being the people pleaser and being the good girl and being the fixer and the mediator and the emotional dumping ground that they are not going to take kindly to you switching it up, because it's inconvenient for them and it forces them to have new coping mechanisms, which people don't like. And also there's a small part of them that knows that they need to change too, but they're too scared. And so watching somebody else actually do the hard work, like, it just kind of reminds them of like, ooh, see, it is possible. It is possible to change, and I'm not doing it. Or I don't think I can do it, or I don't want to, you know? So that, it is a lot. It's a lot to go through. But is it worth it? Fuck yes. And you know what's crazy is, in the first version of my book, I specifically wrote, I will never, ever say I'm grateful for this type of pain. I will never say I'm grateful for being assaulted. I will never say I'm grateful for being betrayed so terribly and deceived over such a long period of time. And yet here I am, like, now that the light has come back, now that I'm putting down roots, I have safety, I have routines, I have new coping skills, I know how to be healthier than I was before, I'm having fun, like, now that all of that is happening and I'm good, like, truly, like, holy shit, I'm over it. Like, holy shit, I did it. Like, now I'm kind of like, thank you, which I never thought would happen, because I never wanted to say, like, I'm grateful for that kind of stuff. But I'm like, dang, like, if those people hadn't hurt me so bad, do you know how bad you have to treat somebody like me to get me to walk away? Do you know what I mean? Like, if they hadn't done all of that, I would still be there. I would still be in one-sided friendships, or friendships built on gossip and disrespect, and I would still be in a relationship that didn't actually love me. There's no way that man treated me the way he did and actually loved me. You know what I mean? Like, so I would still be, like, used so somebody else doesn't have to look at their wounds instead of truly loved and respected. I would still be my parents' mediator, and like, I would still be miserable and drained and run down and mad. And instead, they pushed me to a point that I had no choice but to burn it all down and to choose me, because they showed again and again and again that they were willing to sacrifice me for their own convenience. You know, if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't be here. And it's not like giving them credit, because I did this hard work. I chose to lean in. I chose to choose new paths. I chose to take a risk instead of running back to the same old shit that's comfortable. Like, I really stepped up to the challenge, just like I always do. And look where I am now. Oh, holy shit, I cannot believe this is coming out of my mouth. I am so grateful that all of this happened. I'm not grateful I went through it. I'm not grateful I had such massive PTSD and crazy things to work through. But I am so glad that I am the person that I am, who used that as a way to be better, and who used that as a way to be like, hold up, like, this is not how life is supposed to be. What do I need to do? And like, I fucking stepped up and I changed my life, and I am somebody that those people would never recognize and would never have access to. And they shouldn't have had access to me at all, which is why they had to lie and they had to hide certain things, because they knew if they were truthful with me, they would lose access to me in certain ways. You know what I mean? It's all because they knew if I knew the truth that they would lose me. So, you know what? All's well that ends well, yo. All's well that ends well. I am so happy. And I am so proud. And I literally walk around this beautiful fucking house that was like handpicked for me, it seems, by the universe, in a city that was made for me, with friends who fucking love me and talk power over me and gratitude for me and fill me up the way I fill them up. Like, I cannot tell you how often, it's like 10 times a day, I look around and I'm just like, I fucking did it. I fucking did it. It was all worth it. It was all fucking worth it. There were times I doubted it. There were times I wasn't sure if I was ever going to make it through. And I just, when those moments came, like when those spicy thoughts came of like, this is pointless, let's just end it, because like, who fucking cares? I literally be like, okay, sure. Like, that makes a lot of sense and that's very valid. Let's wait till tomorrow. Like, I would kind of always push it back a little bit because I knew deep down that like, that I would wake up and be like, okay, no, I'm actually really grateful I'm here. So like, if you are having those thoughts, A, definitely reach out, get support from somebody, anybody, please. But B, you can also just push it off and be like, okay, sure, yes, let's do it, but let's do it tomorrow. And then say that every single day, okay? That's just my little tip. That's really what kept me going, because the thought of like, no, I'm never gonna do that was like, bitch, I can't do this for the rest of my life though, you know? So just being like, okay, tomorrow, like we can make it through 12 more hours. Like, let's think about it tomorrow. Super helpful tool for me. Or I don't know if that's considered a tool, but you know what I mean. So this is my long-winded way of saying it gets dark, it gets scary. There's a lot of work you are going to have to do. Self-reflective work, radically honest work, getting to know yourself, learning emotional maturity, learning how to handle situations in new ways. It's not an overnight process. It's not like once you learn it, then you just do it forever. It's situation by situation. And I still mess up. I still don't set certain boundaries. Like, it's all a work in progress. Just because I'm happy and safe and confident and like soft in my body does not mean I have it all right. I still struggle to set boundaries in the moment because I still have this fear of like backlash and of being severely punished for having a need or for saying like, this doesn't work for me. So even though I know and I have been shown that I am around safe people now, that fear comes back. That fear comes back of like, if I speak up, they're gonna scream in my face. I've had grown people screaming in my face, right? So like, I have that fear of like, if I say this, they're gonna swing at me. They're gonna hurt me. They're gonna cut me out, you know? So I am not at all claiming that I have everything down pat now. I am still a work in progress. But the old situations that used to make me spin out, used to make me have meltdowns, used to make me like stay very quiet, that's all different, right? So I'm at a new level of learning different things now. Now I'm like fine tuning, now I'm getting better with it. And now, because I'm out of survival mode, and I feel like I'm almost out of recovery mode too. I feel like I'm almost in like building mode. That's where my energy gets to go. Instead of having to focus on, was I wrong? Am I the narcissist? Am I abusing people? Like, am I doing the right thing? My brain is not filled with that stuff anymore. My brain is not filled with like, why did that person do that? How did that person do that? Like, what else don't I know? What else is going to come out in the future? Like, my brain is not taken up by all of that like PTSD stuff. And now my brain gets to be like, what do I feel like doing today? Do I want to go on a walk? Like, do I want to lay in my hammock? Do I want to read this book? Like, my head, my brain, it's so much different. You know what I mean? So because I'm more relaxed, because I'm not like constantly on high alert anymore, I now have the ability to learn how to fine tune those emotional things. So anyway, it is worth it. It is worth it. It is not overnight, but I promise you the light comes back if you just put one foot in front of the other. I did everything I did without ever knowing if the light would come back, and here I am. I am living proof that over time, and it might take years, it took me, this is like 3.5 years of hard work and sitting in the fire of all these betrayals and all these tower moments instead of trying to get myself out of it. I sat in it and I said, if I'm gonna burn, I'm gonna understand why the fuck I'm burning and how to avoid this in the future. Like, I made sure to take full advantage. Like, if I'm gonna be in this type of pain and this depth of pain, I'm gonna make it fucking mean something. And because I did that, it took me 3.5 years, and I'm a whole different person. I'm not even my old self. Like, there's some aspects of my old self that did come back. I am an entirely new person that I never dreamed I would be, that I never knew I had the capability of being. And this is just the beginning. If this is how good I am, like, what is this, 10 months after breaking up with him, and like a few years after leaving the friends and the family, imagine how I'm gonna be next year. You know what I mean? Where this is just normal, and where, I am so rooted in who I am. Like, oh my God, I cannot wait to see who I am and what I do. And that's the thing. I used to have these hopes of like, I just hope I don't feel like killing myself in the future. And now I'm like, I cannot wait to see what beautiful things I create, what amazing people I meet, because I've been meeting the most wonderful, trustworthy, like just incredible people, men and women. For such a long time, I was so scared. I was like, I hate people, and I especially hate men. Men are liars, men are dogs. Like, I am meeting such trustworthy, good people who care about their communities, who take care of their partners, who take care of themselves. Like, I didn't know this many healthy people existed. I thought the world was all fucked up and that I would have to isolate for the rest of my life. Like, I cannot tell you how beautiful and healing it is to meet so many incredible, trustworthy, brave, kind people who want to see everybody around them win. It's beautiful. I fucking love it. Like, so I wake up every day like just like, what's gonna happen today? Like, I just can't wait, And I never thought I would get here, and I didn't think I would get here so fast. Like, I thought I was gonna be in the darkness for like another 10 years. Because you know what they say, like, especially with breakups, and I know I keep talking about the relationship, but I'm kind of like lumping them all together. Breaking up my family, my relationship, and my friends, they say it takes like, what is it, half the amount of time that you were with those people. And so I was like, oh my God, am I gonna feel this way for like 6-7 years? Like, that would be fucking hell. But even with that fear, I was like, worth it. If I am in the darkness for 6 or 7 years, I'm still gonna be young by the time I get out of it, and I'll still have the rest of my life to build, right? So if you think like you're too old or like it's not worth it, and you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s, in your 50s, like, it is still worth it, because look at all those years you have left, right? Even if you are in the darkness for 6 or 7 years, but the rest of your life is happy then, and safe and soft and everything you want, to me, that's worth it. But again, everyone has their priorities. So anyway, I think I've been talking for a very long time. I should set a timer or something so I'm aware. But I really wanted this episode to show you like the good that happens, because I do talk a lot about the scary reality of healing, because nobody warned me. But I really wanted to highlight how worth it this work is, and how incredible life gets when you choose yourself. So let me know if you have any thoughts, questions, if you want me to dive deeper into something, please let me know. And even if you just want to give me like feedback, like, thumbs up, 5 stars, you let me know. I am here for all of it. The whole point of my existence, truly, I think, is to teach other people like how strong and powerful they are. So if you have questions, if you have topic suggestions, if you have comments, please reach out to me. I would love to hear it. So make sure to sign up for my email list on my website for first notifications about my book, like updates, release dates, book cover reveal, stuff like that. And I also do have like meditations on my website for sale, as well as personalized channeled messages, which are my favorite thing to do. It is just an incredible way to get some guidance, some short-term, like, here's what to do next type information. So anyway, I'm just giving you different options to connect with me. So I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I am excited for next episode. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.